Hi all. Yep, here we are again. We've entered the Groan Zone, bringing you, my dear groaners, episode 16 this week. Let's take the brakes off and hurtle through yet another show for another week. Let's begin with part one of my 3 Groan trilogy. Number 1, it's pubs and clubs. Now you stand in a bar, in a pub or club for ages, trying to get served, and the bar staff know this. You've got your money, your card ready, then someone who just stepped to the bar gets served first. Now, sorry, no there's any bar etiquette, but I don't think that this is very fair. They must know if someone's been waiting there ages. I think my record has been 10 to 15 minutes stood at a bar waiting. Now you could go somewhere else and go get served quicker, but what's the point? You're in a bar, you're comfortable, you want a drink, and you want it pretty much as soon as possible. Not longer than 15 minutes, of course, that's ridiculous. Groan number 2 is kids. Now, I may have whinged about this before, groaned about this before, but this is more like stupid local kids of the northeast who deface and break things, ensuring something is horrible to look at or it can't be used by anybody else. Identify the little wasters, follow them home, then deface their stuff. I don't think it would be so funny then for them, would it? Number 3. Bad quality carveries. Now you're at a carvery and they're cutting into your meat. You don't notice anything wrong. You then pile on the veg, your spuds, everything else. You then chew your way through all of it all. You get to the very end, the meat. You about to tuck into the meat, you put it in your gob, and then you find out it's nothing but fat. Now, you would think any good person carving meat should know when they're cutting through meat or cutting through fat. Little idea for those hosting carveries: if you're gonna give anybody meat off a cut joint or anything, will you for God's sake cut the fat off the meat first rather than give them a fat ball? I don't want to bite it in a gristle of fat when I'm eating. I'd rather just bite into solid meat, be it beef, be it pork, turkey or gammon. Come on, really? Have some standards, man. Now then, I've groaned. Let's cleanse the palate with yes or BS. Now, there's been some confusion over yes or BS. Just to state, you are avoiding the wrong answers, or answers to get points. If you pick any false answers, you get your points blanked to 0. Only way to score points, I must say again, is to pick the answers that are true. Now that that's sorted, let's delve deep into yes or BS with round number 1, the I sport you'd never believe it round. A. Golf has been the only sport to be played on the moon. Option B. There's a sport known as chess boxing. Option C. Baseball umpires wear blue underwear. As we usually do, we will wait for those playing live along in the Discord chat. Oh, someone's typed in for A there. Any for B. Ooh, none for B. Oh, couple for C there. Okay. We'll find out who's right or wrong later on. Now we move on to round number 2, the Colour Me Impressed round. Option A. The human eye can see approximately 20 million colours. Option B. Sir Isaac Newton invented the colour wheel. Option C. It is possible to hear colours. Give you some time to answer there. If you listen along after the fact they've been recorded live, you can pause whenever you wish and have a think. Oh, one of our groaners has joined and just said drunk. Sorry, not an answer, but I love you all. Thank you, dear groaner, we love you too. And someone's gone for option A. And I think the person who wrote that comment has put everybody else off. So never mind. We will move on to round number 3. The to veg or not to veg round. Option A. The term veganism was officially created in 1944. Option B. 16% of the population of India are vegans. Option C. 1/3 of vegetarians accidentally eat meat when they are drunk. Same as before. Give a bit of time. Okay. Couple for C there. One for A. And a couple for B. Okay. Now, if you think you got wiped, or think you scored points, we're going to find out later on in the show, possibly near the end, just to give it a bit of a longer wait. Now, of course, dear groaners, I couldn't move the show on without hearing from one of your good selves. This week's audience groan comes in from Steve P of Gateshead. He had one simple groan, a one-word groan: shoplifters. Cheers, Steve. It doesn't get much more simple and to the point than that. Yes, these muppets who think paying is some made-up thing from ancient history, and they think they can just walk out of a shop with items and not pay and not get into trouble. Now, we have money and currency for a reason. Why risk a criminal record for a pair of socks or something? Just pay at the counter. I know times are hard and money's tight. Just pay at the counter, save yourself some unnecessary trouble. Now then, if you have a groan you want off your chest, you can send it to the show in a number of ways. You can find the Groan Zone on Discord as the Groan Zone Podcast, via Facebook groups under the Groan Zone Podcast. You can hit me a groan personally and directly to Mr. E. Groaner on Facebook Messenger. And last but not least, you can send an email in to the groanzonepod@gmail.com. Now, this isn't just for groans. You can send in your Zero of the Week, nominations, tell us your jokes, or if you'd like to share your feedback or ideas, you're most welcome to. And of course, your groans too. Now, let's find out who has the dishonour of being this week's Zero of the Week. Now, this week's Zero of the Week is Middle-earth Enterprises. You may or may not have heard of them, but they represent the Lord of the Rings franchise. Now, why am I mentioning them? Let's find out. Allow me to go on. They've targeted a bin company in Brighton, UK with legal action. They chose the company name of Lord of the Bins, with the slogan of "One ring to remove it all." Catchy, funny. The company doesn't think so. They think that's illegal. And for God's sake, aside from using the same name and the same font, anyone can tell they've got nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. Well, I say same name, it's loosely the same name, but it's a play on words. To rebrand would cost the company thousands. I mean, what next? Is Nintendo going to sue an Italian baker because he looks like one of the Mario brothers? The company seems to ignore the following. What about The Hobbit Ale or the J.R. Tolkien estate for the Hobbit book? This is too much and too far. For this reason, ME Enterprises are the Zero of the Week. Now, before we close the show this week, we'll round off with the yes or BS answers. Back to round number 1, the I Sport You Never Believe It round. If you chose option A, golf has been the only sport to be played on the moon. True. This was by an astronaut of Apollo 14 in 1971. His name was Alan Shepard. If you got A, you got points. Option B, there is a sport known as chess boxing. Again, this is true. It came to exist in 1979 in some London clubs out there. Option C, baseball umpires wear blue underwear. If you pick this one, wrong. This is false. Under the rules of baseball, they are required to wear black underwear as part of their NBL uniform. On to round 2, the colour me impress round. Option A, the human eye can see approximately 20 million colours. This is entirely false. The human eye can only see 10 million colours. Now option B, indeed, Sir Isaac Newton did invent the colour wheel. So aside from discovering gravity, he had that under his belt as well. And he created it in 1704 and it displays various gradients of certain colours. Option C, it is possible to hear colours. This is completely true. Around 4% of humans can hear colours. This is known as chromesthesia. Round 3, the to veg or not to veg round. Option A, if you went for the term veganism was officially created in 1944, you're entirely correct. The term was coined in 1944 by Donald Watson, who was an animal rights activist at the time. to distinguish between normal vegetarians and non-dairy vegetarians, commonly known as vegans now. Option B, 16% of the population of India are vegans. Did a bit of a number play here. Wrong. False. The number stands at a total of only 9% of the population of India. Now lastly, option C, 1/3 of vegetarians accidentally eat meat when they are drunk. Completely true. And unfortunately for them, it's not just a one-time occurrence. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you're having a bit of a cheeky drink there, be careful, because you could be eating meat and you're not sure what's going on. Be careful. Now, if you got wiped at any point or got no points at all, my commiserations, but better luck next time. If you got points, well played. You'll get another crack at Yes or BS in 2 weeks' time. Thanks to the Groaners listening live, and thank you to you for listening when this episode is released. Stay Groany, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.